Hello, everyone. Oh, there's an echo. I apologize for that. Sometimes Sterling Live kicks off a little echoey, and it's me screaming at all of you live right now. But yes, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sterling Live. My name is Caitlin Brower. I am Sterling's social media manager, and I am also your host for Sterling Live. First and foremost, I would like to say Happy Veterans Day. And as you can see on the bottom of the screen, that is our topic today. And I'll get into that a little bit in a little bit right now. Above me, I have two amazing guests with me today, and I'm so excited to go ahead and introduce them. We have Steve Waldvogel, Enterprise Sales Executive for Government and Education, and Allan Francis, a criminal court researcher and reporter and operations specialist. As I just said, today's topic, we are talking about Veterans Day, and we are thanking the veterans in our workforce. So first and foremost, Allan and Steve, thank you so much for your service. And every veteran watching right now, thank you for your service on behalf of me and Team Sterling. I would like to give the two of you a time now to introduce yourselves to our audience so they can get to know you a little bit better. So Steve, I'm going to start with you. Can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Very good. Thank you, Caitlin. Appreciate it. My name is Steve Waldvogel. I'm the Enterprise Sales Executive, as Caitlin mentioned, with Sterling and the government education vertical. I've been with the company now for going on 13 years, and I currently live in Northern California with my wife and three crazy dogs, a couple Aussies and another mutt, with two grown adult children that are absolutely amazing. I spent 8 years in the Army National Guard here in California. Joined back my junior year in 1987 and went to basic training between my junior and senior year in high school. And then after high school, I went to advanced training for the summer before I started my freshman year in college. So it's been a while since I've been in, since 1995, but proud of my service and really enjoyed my time.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Allan, I think you're having a little difficulty hearing us. Can you hear us now? No? Okay. I don't think, and I can't hear you, unfortunately, Allan. So I'm going to go ahead and pop over into our private chat and talk to him real quick. But I'm going to keep things moving along here. I do want to remind our audience real quick that if you do have questions, you can pop them over into the comment section across Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And I will get them over to Steve and Allan as I see fit throughout the episode. And then just for recognition here, Veterans Day is recognized by that name in the United States, but veterans are honored around the globe through a multitude of celebrations and holidays. I do also know today is Remembrance Day in certain parts of the world. So we just want to say to all the veterans around the globe, thank you so much for your service and for your sacrifice. So I'm going to kick things off as I try to figure out the technical issues behind the scene here with Allan. So Steve, I'm going to kick things off with you for an overview of Veterans Day. Can you give us a brief overview of Veterans Day and what today means to you?
Sure. I'll start with a quick history lesson for those who may not know. On the 11th day of the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918, World War I was ended officially. And a year later, Armistice Day was introduced, which is now Veterans Day. And we celebrate Veterans Day for the last 68 years going forward. And 101 years ago on this day, the unknown soldier was introduced and dedicated at Arlington National Cemetery. So this is a very big day, and quite honestly, one of the things that I love is that we recognize veterans in our country throughout the year, starting in May, and then in July, and then again in November. And I think to me, it means a lot. I really respect the work that's been done for the freedoms that we have today. It's very personal to me. In fact, when I was a young boy, I really looked up to the people, the men and the women that served our country and what they sacrificed so that we could have what we have here in the United States. And I always felt that this was a calling of mine and a duty of really everybody in the United States to serve in some way, whether it's in the military or through other means, but to serve their country to some extent and really focus on protecting the freedoms we have and what we all enjoy every day. So, I mean, it's very personal. It means a lot to me, and
Yep.
I'm humbled to have been able to serve in the United States military.
Thank you. Allan, can I confirm that you can hear us?
Yeah, I can hear.
Yes, and we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
All right.
great.
See, we bounce back from technical issues on Sterling Live. Don't worry. So, Allan, can you give us a brief overview of Veterans Day and what today means to you?
Well, Veterans Day obviously is very special to me, and I want to say this as I enter this conversation is that I was born in Jamaica, and growing up, all I wanted to do was be a soldier. I knew that from the day I was born, pretty much, I was going to be a soldier. I thought I would be in one of three armies: the Jamaican Army, the British Army, or the U.S. Army. So here I am today in the U.S. Army, Chief Warrant Officer, combat veteran with 22 years of service to this great nation. Veterans Day to me is recognition from a grateful nation, the United States of America, who recognizes all veterans for our sacrifices, time served, and for the protection and defense of this great country, the United States of America. So I'm humbled and honored and thankful for this day and this occasion.
Absolutely. Both of your responses, you're giving me chills on this end of the computer. So, but yes, we've got a lot more to talk about.
Yes.
And so I want to go into, your experience as a veteran. So Steve, I'll come to you first here. Can you tell us how your experience as a veteran has played such an important role, in your success right now, like in, corporate world and things like that?
Sure. Some of the things that I learned early on in my service. I grew up in a small town in California, and didn't travel very much when I was young, and didn't have a lot of exposure to the world. And when I landed in Missouri, St. Louis, and got on a bus and headed down to Fort Leonard Wood for basic training, I was quickly thrown into a pot of people from all walks of life, and it was amazing. We had nothing in common other than the fact that we were all scared to death with what was going to happen over the next several months, and we quickly found common ground and developed very close relationships. And really, what the military's taught me is really how to be a team player, how to work with people from diverse backgrounds. And how to rely on people that you don't know very well. It was amazing, and I think it's really helped me in my life as a person, as well as in organizations, and how to work within organizations effectively and drive my success.
Right. Allan, same question for you, talking about your experience as a veteran and how this has played a role in your success.
Well, the military is, of course, my big family. And I can tell you that everything I learned, it started with the military. And I'm grateful for that. The capacity that I've served in has allowed me to be a better leader. And not only to be a better leader, but also to help others become greater leaders and serve more than just himself, but also serve the environment, the community, so on and so forth. At Sterling, I can say that one of the things that really helps me for my military career is attention to detail. It's amazing how you go through, let's say, my training, and you have to fold a T-shirt up in a dollar size thing. Like, why am I doing something that's crazy as trying to fold a big T-shirt into a dollar? So it's size of $1. And later on you realize it's because attention to detail and how critical that is. In my job as in Sterling, it's critical, right? With of course investigation, reporting, it has to be accurate. As a warrant officer, my word is my bond. It has to be on time, it has to be accurate, it has to be precise, because they depend on my knowledge or my answers for combat operations. So if chief says it's not the right way, then we have a problem. So I have to be always correct, always on time, and always there in the present and personal like that. So I'm grateful for those training.
Yes, I very much appreciate that. So folding a t-shirt into a dollar size is definitely a skill set, but I'm curious about a couple more skill sets the two of you have. So Allan, I'll start with you here. What top skill sets have you taken from your time in the military and translated it into your role here at Sterling? I know you just went into it a little bit or elsewhere, but definitely just a little bit more detail on this one.
Right. Well, I can tell you that because I've led soldiers in combat operations. That's a whole new avenue, leading soldiers. And one of the skills that I've gained is, of course, when it comes to leadership in any organizations, you need leaders who are competent, leaders who know what they're doing, leaders who care about what they're doing, care about the people that they're leading. So one of the skills that will be that leading combat, leading under stressful operations, stressful conditions, bullets over your head and everything is going on. You still have to be stay, your composure have to be held. You take care of soldiers behind you, so you have to lead without worrying about those things flying over your head. As long as one doesn't get you, it's okay. But I think that's one of the qualities you find in the military as leaders is that we just learn to lead from the front. And as it relates to the organization, we easily fit in organizations because of our skills and things that maybe sometimes challenging for others. For us, it's really a cakewalk because of our background, what we used to with combat, what we used to coming into, like Sterling, for example. Wow, I'm in a vacation, so to speak, because there's nothing over my head, nothing flying in the air, nothing. So this is just great to be, to be Sterling and to do the things that I'm doing and leading by example. And people look at you and they see you so calm and so collective, and they want to be like you. They want to emulate what you do and how you do it. So again, this is just a great way into, for the military and what we're doing.
Yeah, I really like that last point that you had made. Your colleagues around you see what you're doing and they want to mimic that. They want to do the same thing. So I think that's great.
Yes.
Steve, same questions for you. I know you had mentioned it a little bit earlier with the first question, but top skill sets that you've taken from your time in the military and now translated over to not only your role at Sterling, you've been here for 13 years, but other roles as well.
Yeah, I would say, there's several things that I really learned in the military that I use today in my sales role, and resiliency is one of them. Being able to pivot quickly when things change, to move quickly, to be quick on my feet and ready for anything. I think those are skills that that were ingrained in me when I was in the military. One of the things, as a ground troop, that they constantly reinforced was, what are you going to do right this very second? Mm-hmm. And you never knew when that was going to, when that question was going to come up. When somebody might jump out and present a problem that you had to deal with at that very moment. Being able to react calmly in chaos, I think was a very strong skill that I learned through my years in the military, and I think it translates very well in my life as well as in my role at Sterling, being able to communicate effectively with people of all walks of life, and to be able to field questions that I'm not expecting at any moment. My phone can ring at any moment, and I could get a question that I was not expecting, and how am I going to handle it? Right? It could be something good, it could be something bad, and so I think those are things that I learned. Being in sales is much like being at the plate in baseball. If I can hit 350 in baseball, I'm going to the Hall of Fame. Right, so it's a game of misses. It's a game of imperfection, and in sales it's the same way. I wish I could sign every opportunity that came across my table, and if I did, I don't. That'd be amazing, but I don't. And so learning how to deal with no and losses on a regular basis are things. Those are skills I learned in the military. You know, the thick skin and being able to bounce back and not dwell on the past.
Right. Exactly. So we did a little bit of a call out here on LinkedIn. So the two of you had mentioned, in your intros and around Veterans Day, that you are very thankful and humble to be able to talk about your experiences. Just a couple of things coming in on LinkedIn that we are the ones who are thankful and grateful for the two of you. So just wanted to share that. I know I said it a couple of times today, but one of our audience members right now wanted to give over that thanks to you as well. All right, Steve, I'm going to stay with you for this next question to start. And I think the two of you are going to provide great advice here. Do you have any advice for veterans entering the workforce for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, it can definitely be frightening because, your world is so defined in the military, right? You have a schedule, you know what you're going to do all the time. You know your job, and then as it relates to I was a combat engineer in the military, and what that meant was we were on the front side of a mechanized unit, and we had to learn how to drive tracked vehicles, shoot various types of machine guns and other sorts of equipment, blow things up, take down bridges, build bridges. Blow up roads, build roads, clear minefields. What we had to do was we had to be a jack of all trades. And but getting out is how do you translate that into the real world? Because there's not a lot of positions like that in the real world. And so now what do I do with my skill set? And really, I think the best advice I could give is that what you learn in the military is invaluable. And the skills that you learn are invaluable and they translate. And though you may not have a direct line from one skill to another in the corporate world, what you're tasked to do in the military, I believe really anybody that has been successful in the military can come out and be successful doing anything in the real world. And so just having that confidence, learning how to translate those skills that you learned, leadership skills, team skills, soft skills, and be able to translate those into the real world and how they relate, I think is important. And one of the things that is helpful is networking with other people that were in the military and just sharing with them, what your experiences were and understanding how they translated their experiences into the real world. I think that's also invaluable and really, whether it's local veterans organizations or just networking, out and about, I think is super helpful for veterans coming out and looking to, start their career. I have a lot of family members that have been in the military, some younger ones, some cousins, second cousins that have recently gotten out. And I know it's been scary for them getting out of the military, especially with the things that they've had to go through in the recent years serving. And so it's scary. I totally understand and get that. It's really important to have a good cohesive network of people that you trust and can count on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, the idea of networking, having that group around you, I think that's great advice for sure. Allan, what advice do you have for a veteran coming into the workforce for the first time?
Well, I can tell you, the first thing I would say is network. And I want to tell the veterans that don't second guess it. You are absolutely qualified. You are absolutely ready for the workforce. So don't second guess yourself. If you can perform so well in the military, you will do great in the civilian sector. Just network and get to know people that already in the industry that you can talk to and can bring you along, whatever. But don't be afraid. I mean, we have skills unmatched by or desired by so many. So of course, plan ahead, make sure you have a good plan. But network, I think, has helped me in the very beginning for getting started in the civilian sector. And also for the military, we're used to having our military family to depend on and to rely on. In the civilian sector, we're brand new and we most times don't know much because we're so, let's just do it, isolated with our military family and friends and mission and everything else. And now we are now in this big world of civilians, and we're like not sure how to maneuver. Network, find some buddies, find some friends, talk about things. But I want to tell you one thing: you are absolutely ready. You are absolutely worthy, and employers are begging and looking for you. So don't be afraid. Get out there and join the force.
Great advice from the two of you. I really appreciate, both sets of advice there, and even just networking and the encouragement, to get out there and see what your next step is and what you can do. So I think that's great. I think, Allan, your answer is a great segue into our next area of conversation and for the next question. So I do, now that we just kind of gave advice to veterans entering the workforce for the first time, I want to talk about veterans in the workforce now. So, Allan, how has Sterling helped you, as a veteran, be successful within your role in the organization?
Well, I'm going to say one thing first. I have to say this. When I came on to Sterling, shortly thereafter, COVID happens. And I know, understanding the workforce, I was one of those guys, I know for sure it's going to go, because everybody was cutting employee, everybody was cutting all across the board with cutting. And let me tell you, I was amazed that Sterling CEO came on board and said, I'm not letting anybody go. You're with Sterling, we are all in this together. And I was shocked, because I'm only used to that kind of environment, in the military environment, leave no man behind kind of thing. And I was surprised to hear it from Sterling. And it won my loyalty right away. I just couldn't believe that. Another military family within the family, I found this, so that, in a sense, made me more loyal to Sterling, and definitely, I'm in this with Sterling. If they go left, I'm left. They go right, I'm right with them, because of just that initial exposure, that initial experience with the CEO saying, I'm leaving no one behind. I'm keeping everybody on board. And that's what military are looking for. We're looking for a family, somebody who wants us, somebody who will keep us, somebody to take care of us. In the military, we don't worry about those things, because you go to war, wherever you're going, we have people of us making sure we're taken care of, making sure we're covered. So don't worry about those things. And I tell you, at Sterling, I find that same experience. I don't worry about things. I've got great supervisors, great leaders, and they take care of things and encourage me to be the best person I can possibly be. So Sterling has really made an impact on my life. And I could say, from the military, Sterling has now become my second family. And I really and truly mean it from the depth of my heart. I just really have a love for Sterling and what it stands for and the way they treat veterans. Really appreciate that.
I'm so happy you brought up, that experience from, when COVID had happened for the organization. I think a lot of us feel the same way that you do. And I'm also very thrilled that you feel that we are your second family. So I'm happy to be a part of that. And I know everyone watching that's working for Team Sterling is definitely happy for that as well. Steve, same question. As a veteran, how do you think Sterling has, helped you with your success within the organization?
Well, I got to say, I totally agree with what Allan shared, and I think that that's since I've been here for 13 years, it was a very a tough time in everybody's life when COVID broke out, and it was scary times, and really the leadership at Sterling stepped up and took care of the company and made everybody feel comfortable. It was important, and I'm very thankful for that. I would also mention that over my 13 years here, it's been consistent that as an organization, we've always stepped up to help each other when somebody has lost a loved one, or there's been a natural disaster, or whatever it is around the world. We've always stepped up as an organization and donated resources to our fellow workers, and I think that is that camaraderie is similar to what I was used to in the military, and is an important value that I hold personal to myself. And so I think culturally Sterling aligns with my values, and that helps me be successful and enjoy being here at Sterling. I can't imagine working anywhere else, working for a better organization. They just really take care of everybody. regardless of where you're at in the organization and what your role is. Everybody is important, and I think that reminds me of the military a lot. Everything that we do has an impact on everybody around us and everything that we do.
I couldn't agree more. So you both had mentioned, the ideas, around leadership, how organizations take care of their employees. Other than that, what are veterans looking for when starting to work for an organization? Steve, I'll start with you here.
They're looking for a home that they feel comfortable in, that is accepting, that is going to help them grow into a career. As we mentioned before, getting out of the military can be frightening because you know one thing, you have your day, your world planned out for you based on what your role is in the military, and then coming out of the military, it's not as defined, and so translating your skills from the military into the workforce, can be frightening. And so an employer that understands the value you bring. Mm-hmm. The biggest challenges that I've ever faced in my life, I faced when I was in the military. Things that I felt would think before were insurmountable became things that we did every day. And that sort of confidence, coming into the workforce, employers that realize that these veterans coming in can really do anything and have great leadership skills, I think is very important. And that's really what employers should, veterans should be looking for in an employer, and an employer should be looking for in a veteran.
Allan, what are your thoughts on, what are veterans looking for when working for an organization?
Some of that, like what I just said about, finding a home. I tell you, veterans are not complicated. I promise you. We are probably the simplest being on the planet. We're not complicated at all. We run with anything. But what we want from an organization is a person or an organization that cares, an organization that recognizes you as a veteran, mm-hmm. your talents, and we utilize it as such. It's just that motherly thing, if you will, instinct. You have a loving mom, a loving dad, a loving whatever, brother, whatever. That love, that compassion that binds it together. Sterling did that for me when I came on board. That was what I was looking for. I didn't have to ask for it. It just fell in my lap with a CEO say, hey, everybody, we're sticking together. We understood. That's exactly what veterans are looking for. The term is familiar territory, where we're familiar with that type of leadership. In the military, we're very, concentrated that way in terms of leadership. When you find it in the civilian sector, that familiarization, that reminds me of my military organization. My God, this organization is awesome. That's what we're looking for. That love, that being a part of something, make you feel not like an outcast, but bring you right in, wrap their arms around you and say, hey, let's do this together. That's what we're looking for. Being a part of something grand, something beautiful. And from that part, we will give you our hearts.
Yes.
I promise you.
I could feel it from the two of you.
Yes.
You are giving everything, and it really makes me feel great that you feel you're receiving it from Sterling and those you work with as well. So it's I love working here, and I love everything about it, and to see you even more today after talking to the two of you. So I appreciate that for sure. I want to take a moment here. If you are watching live right now on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, if you have, I'm going to do a final call for questions. If you have any questions for Steve and Allan, please go ahead and send them over. What you'll do is go in the comment section on each these platforms. They'll come through to me, and I'll get them over to the two of them as I see fit. With that, if we wait for any final questions to come in, we've had a phenomenal conversation so far, and I truly appreciate the two of you taking the time on this Veterans Day to sit down and talk with me. As we wrap up today's episode, I do want to get some final thoughts from the two of you on the topic, on Veterans Day, anything that you want to send our audience off with. So Steve, I'll start with you here on final thoughts.
Sure. I would just share that, to all employers out there, that, if you think about a person volunteering to join the military and volunteering to put their life on the line for their country, think about what they would do for you. be willing to give the ultimate sacrifice to our country. We're the type of people that will stand up and do whatever we're asked to do for our employers, that, assuming that, they are looking out for us. So, hire veterans.
Mm-hmm. It's really powerful. No, I think those are very powerful final thoughts for sure. Allan, final thoughts from you for our audience today.
Right. If we, as a military, if we are willing to enter the battlefield, not knowing if we'll ever come back, because we don't plan those things, we don't care about those things, really. We just do what we're supposed to do. Imagine, as an organization, having that type of, or the caliber of individual serving in your organization, selfless individual who cares but cares about the organization and their processes. Imagine having that kind of individual in your organization. Imagine having a war fighter in your organization, a person who went out there and risked his life, everything you've got, right? That noble soldier, male, female, or military. And now you have an opportunity to hire that noble soldier in your organization. Think of the benefit of getting a person like that in your organization. You can never go wrong hiring a military personnel. They've been through storms. And what you're going to put us through in your organization, again, it'll be like a mini vacation. And we will love you for that. You got to hire military folks. I want to see my brothers and sisters in the military taken care of, like I am. I want that for them also, because they're my family. And I'd employ to employers to really consider military veterans. And also, not only that, remember also, these guys are guys and gals, or leaders. They come in the military, they've done 20 plus years, whatever, or many time they serve, but they are already leaders. A lot of skills that need to be taught, those skills are already earned.
Mm-hmm.
They're already coming to you full-fledged, ready to go to work. Just teach them your processes, your way you do business, and let them run with it, because we're ready. They're ready. Hire veterans. Hire veterans. Hire veterans. Can't go wrong.
Of course not. I think there is a consensus on here with the two of you and with me that the final thought is, get out there, hire veterans. You will not regret it. So I thank you both for leaving our audience with that final message. This was an absolutely outstanding episode. I had a great time talking to the two of you. I've learned so much about you as individuals. I've learned so much about veterans in the workforce. And I appreciate the two of you taking the time on this Veterans Day to talk with me, to deliver your messages to our audience that is watching live, or if you're catching us on demand right now. With that being said, thank you both for joining me. And on behalf of Sterling, I would like to thank the two of you for your service. And to all veterans out there, we thank you around the world. Sterling, thanks you as well for your service. So Steve, Allan, it was a pleasure. And I thank you guys so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much. And thanks, Sterling.
Of course. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'll catch you on the next episode of Sterling Live.